welcome back to Hannity. So in 2006, Julian Assange founded the group WikiLeaks, and in the years following, he created international controversy and outrage for releasing hundreds of thousands of classified U.S. government documents. Now, many, including myself at the time, had criticized him for doing this, and during our sit-down interview, I asked Assange where WikiLeaks draws the line. Take a look. And I've told you this before, when you first came on the scene in 2010, I was concerned you were waging war against the U.S. I have a comment that I made back in November of 2010, and I said, you know, that other people might be, this classified information, releasing classified information, my concern, and classified documents could put American lives at risk. That was my concern. So this is what, in the meantime, what you released at that time, the standard operating procedures for Camp Delta, the U.S. Army detention camp at Gitmo. You released a classified video of a series of attacks in Baghdad by a U.S. helicopter that, by the way, killed 12 people and 2 journalists. You also released the Afghanistan war logs. You released the Iraqi war logs. You released U.S. diplomatic cables in November of 2010, the Guantanamo files. You released more U.S. diplomatic cables, released the Syria files leading up to this. Here's my question about this, because I've come to believe that you've done 2 things that have been extraordinarily helpful to the United States, and I think journalism in a way. One is you showed us that we do not have cybersecurity. You acknowledge that. And 2, I think in this election in particular, you exposed a level of corruption that I, for 30 years on the radio as a conservative, knew existed, and I was shocked at the level of corruption, duplicity, dishonesty, manipulation. So there's a lot of good here. Where's a line for you? In other words, if lives are in jeopardy, is that a line? Privacy for individuals, is that a line? If you were to be handed information about a private citizen, a Hollywood actor,
well, let's look at the practice. As editor of WikiLeaks, I'm very proud of 3 things. Number 1, we've never got it wrong in terms of what we say a document is, it is.
What you have printed, what you have revealed has never been
shown to be fake, and not even is there any outstanding allegation that it is. Okay. Number 2, we have never revealed one of our sources ever. So that's a.
Today you can reveal the source of the Podesta emails. That would make a lot of news.
Yeah, and that would be the end of WikiLeaks.
Exactly.
So,
but you did say it's not Russia. And you don't like to say that.
We have, in the past, occasionally on particular issues where we think that, you know, there's a distraction from the publications that's so severe that we have to kind of distance ourselves from it and prevent a vacuum, basically, being filled by any old rubbish. Okay, so for that. Number 3, what are we proud of? We are proud that there's not a single instance of anyone coming to physical harm as a result of our publication.
Let me ask you, have you made conscious decisions as the founder and editor to withhold information because you thought the release of such information would result in somebody's death? In other words, methods.
Where we thought there was a significant risk.
You're very conscious of that.
Yeah.
And that's an ethical standard for you.
Yes, and so, but we're always transparent about it, okay?
You'll say that you're not
We say, we're withholding this piece of information for a limited time until such time as we think that there's not a significant risk that someone might face retribution. We're totally transparent about it. So unlike other media organizations, you just see huge reductions with no explanation as to why that information has been redacted or been withheld. And I can tell you that I know from practice, having dealt with more than 110 different media organizations in collaborative partnerships, that very often information is withheld for political reasons, and it is then passed off that it is being withheld in order to protect individuals. So redactions are deeply corrupting. And we are fighting to set a new standard.
You're describing the New York Times. You're describing ABC, NBC, CBS, Politico. You're describing the mainstream media in America. And WikiLeaks has shown this.
We had similar problems with The Guardian, Le Monde, El País. Now, there were also fine journalists who did good work. So it's not everyone. But there were critical cases where information that we shared in a partnership agreement under the basis that would only be redacted for human rights reasons, protecting someone's life, was redacted to protect oil companies working in Kazakhstan, or Yulia Tymoshenko, the former leader who's accused of all sorts of murders in Ukraine. So here's the basic problem with censorship. Once again, it creates an opaque system where people can't see what were the reasons for the censorship. In the justice system, we say there must be open justice for there to be justice. The judge, while trying, must themselves be tried before the public.
Is it fair to say
it doesn't happen when a media organization is engaged in just sweeping things under the rug?
Is it fair to say that WikiLeaks is more interested in government corruption that's impacting the lives of people, not superfluous, scandalous lives of big stars?
Yeah, we don't publish.
You don't publish.
We don't publish it.
All right,
let me ask this. We haven't actually been. I'm not sure we've ever been put in the position where we've had to make that determination.
Because that's not what you do.
Those people goes to TMZ, for example.
And coming up, Julian Assange has not stepped outside the Ecuadorian embassy in London since 2012. Up next, I'll ask him about the controversial details of his confinement and much more. Straight ahead.